Welcome in to another episode of the My Two Bits Gators Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ben, joined as always by your other host, Mr. Randy. Randy, how are we feeling tonight? Are you staying warm in the G-ville?
Yeah, B, I'm kind of numb, and with regards to the weather and our Gators. That's all I can say about that. We had a scramble last minute this afternoon, getting some plants in, getting some shelter, and getting ready for the first little freeze bit of the season. Happy to come to therapy with you. I've got my card, ready to go, ready to hash this out. How about you, my man?
Yes, another installment of Gator Football Fans Anonymous. Here we go. All right. So to that end, get things kicked off here. Standard intro, though we may handle some things during the pod a little differently tonight. But the intro and the agenda will be the same, but we'll see how we go through and address some of this stuff because that game wasn't normal, so the pod may be a little different.
Right.
But as always, our intro, our mission, our accuracy disclaimer, our vision, and our agenda. Our mission is to provide factual analysis of all things Florida Gator football. Our information will be accurate to the best of our possible ability. We'll cite our sources whenever we use them, and all statistical data comes from either ESPN or stats.ncaa.org, and recruiting data comes from on3.com. That, of course, is our accuracy disclaimer. Our vision is to have unfiltered conversation around the product on the field, as well as recruiting and overall coaching decisions. Our analysis will be based on review of film, and while we will express opinion, that opinion should always be based in some form of fact. We will also evaluate strategy and tactics and discuss our observation of player personnel decisions, as well as on-the-field execution or lack thereof. Okay. I do have a correction to make before we start tonight in the interest of accuracy. I said something on Saturday stating that this was the worst loss to Kentucky since 1917, and that was incorrect. There I go, trust an AI again. Can't do it. It just constantly gets stuff wrong. I was looking it up on the fly, so that's on me. But I did not go back through and actually check the game logs, and it was actually 1950 since the last loss. That actually Bear Bryant, I believe, was the coach at the time at Kentucky. Shocker. And that was a 34-point loss for that one, or a 33-point loss, something like that. So that was the last one since this one to be the biggest. And then the year before that was a 35-point loss, 35-0 in 1949. And then you go back to 1917 when it was 52-0. So those are your four worst losses, this one being the fourth worst in the history of this matchup. So wanted to correct that. It's not the second worst, it's the fourth worst, and it is the worst since 1950. So again, in the interest of accuracy, that's what we try to do. So moving along.
Good job.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Though sorry for the mistake in the first place. As always, our agenda tonight, starting with the exciting plays from the game. Woo. We'll do our Oh My segment. We will try to find some, as always, though I'm going to tell you I'm not going to have three because I just couldn't find three. So it is what it is. We will then talk about the offense in the Chomp segment, defense in Gator Bait. Again, the difficult conversations to have there. Then we'll go through visor throw and our gripes. I could just spend the whole pod talking about visor throw, but I won't. We'll go through hatchlings and recruiting. Pride of the Sunshine with culture. Ooh, it's a tough one tonight. Move back, you suck on the officiating, which actually wasn't too bad, though I'm not sure it would have mattered. And then we'll wrap things up, talk about where we go from here, play keep it or pitch it for Ole Miss and the lane train that we will be going into Oxford for this week, and wrap things up with the sim notes, which is also going to be interesting this evening. So with that, we'll get things started. Give me your exciting plays. Talk to me about the home eyes from the game. We'll try to start this thing off as positively as we can, and then it'll be straight downhill like a, I don't know, a luge. Let's do it.
Luge? Yes, true. It is winter time. So yes, this is the home eye section, not the ho no section.
Yeah.
We'll keep it that way. I did find three. Believe it or not, I found four, but I did. I again,
better man than I. If you found four in this game.
Yeah. I had to dig. It's almost like digging for scallops. You just gotta keep going into the bed. But anyways, the first one is Lagway on the first possession. He broke 3 tackles for a gritty first down. It was a 3rd and 4. He reached, he bobbed, he broke a tackle, he broke 2 tackles, and then at the end shot, I was kind of, deceiving because it showed several jerseys, several blue jerseys around him, but really and truly broke a couple. So that was nice to see because I hadn't seen a powerful run from him like that in a minute. So kudos to him on the run. So that was a great home because it got the first down, kept the ball moving. What little it moved. Anyway, so there's that. Next up, Rocco Underwood. This is the most time we've said his name this season, at least I have. But anyways, on the punt, the muff recovery to set up the Gators with a short field because we needed it, which of course led to a touchdown. So Rocco Underwood.
Thank goodness. Yeah, he kind of kept the scoring streak alive, didn't he?
Bingo. Great awareness, great hands, great job. Rocco Underwood. Just, he does those things that just really never show up in a stat sheet, right? They never do. So again, number 42 on the jersey, but Saturday night number 1 in our hearts. Good job, Rocco. And then last one, Devin Moore. I'm gonna credit Devin here with less than 30 seconds to go in the half, right? With the punch out fumble on Kentucky. And the recovery by, I believe that was Burrow. You want to correct me on the recovery. I think it was either Burrow. There were several bodies there, but Burrow's the one I think I came up with it. But great job, Devin, on the punch out. I know Devin is typically trying to do something to punch the ball out. We know Sharif has forced some this year. Jordan's forced some this year. But I believe this is the second that Devin has forced this year with that punch out fumble. Great job. We were able to recover it, to try and do something, although we did not. But those are my home buys, B. What are your 2?
Yeah. So one of them we have the same, and I probably should have had Rocco. That's actually a miss by me. That's a great call out. I should have given him some love because that's a really good one. So I'll throw that in as an honorable mention. That's a good job thinking of that one or finding it, whatever you want to call it. I think I was just too annoyed and
consumed by frustration.
Yes, consumed by frustration to think to add that one in. But the 2 that I have, one of them we do have in common. But the first one I have is the TD pass to Baugh, not because it kept the scoring streak alive, though it did. So similar to the Rocco thing, right? And it wasn't necessarily the most exciting play in the world overall, right? But I was excited by it because this was not something we've typically seen in terms of a route being run by a running back. This was an angle route out of the backfield, right? So this means the running back comes out and then angles back into the center of the field. That's not typically something that we've seen in this offense, or if it's been there, it's never gets thrown to, but it really hasn't, right? Typically, if they're going to leave him out in the middle of the field, they'll just come out and run like a 2-yard hitch for the dump off. In this case, he was actually still running forward, right? So that you actually had the opportunity to hit him in stride and go in for the touchdown. He's not just stopped there and can be tackled because he's running a hitch, right? So this really is not something that we've seen very often, if at all. So again, a nice little wrinkle, something that we hadn't seen before. There were a few of those in this game, a few things that we hadn't seen, but again, not nearly enough. And actually, in a lot of ways, there was maybe even more regression to the mean in this game than in the prior one, but we'll get into that later. But this was good to see because again, it was something that we do need to see a lot more of, and that's why I wanted to call it out as the oh my, because it was something a little different. And hey, what do you know? It worked and it scored a touchdown, right? So there you go. So that's number 1. Number 2, same as you, I have the strip by Devin, right? Great effort to punch that ball out and not only make the tackle, but actually get the ball out before Boley got to the ground, right? Just really good job there. Defense did not make a lot of plays on Saturday, obviously, but that was a really good one, right? That topped the list for me. I thought it was great effort, really good job, and really nice play by him. So that one obviously makes my list. So that's all I got. Those are, again, limited call outs here, not going to shower a lot of praise on the team when your outcome was what it was. So we'll move on. All right. Start with offense. Yeah. When you score 7 points against Kentucky, it's hard to talk a lot about offense, but we'll get into it. First and foremost, as always, talk about the quarterback rating. So in this game, something kind of weird happened, and I can't say as I really understand how the rating system compiled this data. So the combined NFL rating, again, we use the NFL QB rating, the combined rating for Lagway and Jones was a 38.46. Yikes. Right? That's really, really, really bad. Because anything over 100 is good, as we always talk about. As we were saying last week, when Lagway was just shy of 100, hey, that's still right, bordering on good. It's really a pretty decent game. 38.46 is hot garbage. Let's be clear, right? That is terrible. However, what was weird was when I split their rankings apart to kind of see who brought down the number more, both were higher than 38.6. So that doesn't make any sense. So I threw those numbers out, and just to give perspective, I used the collegiate rankings individually because they're a little easier to just give perspective on kind of who did better. Mm-hmm. So the collegiate ranking, which we don't normally use, for Lagway was an 80.4, and for Jones was an 82.6. So they were the same, is what that tells you. Neither one was any good. If you were looking at collegiate numbers, you want to see at least a 150. That's a bare minimum number that you're looking for there. Again, we don't use that number because of the volatility in it and the amount of ridiculousness that it can go to. So we just kind of left that alone. We always use that NFL number. But just for the perspective between the numbers, it was an 80.4 and 82.6. So they were effectively the same quarterback out there. I know Jones didn't throw 3 picks and Lagway did. I understand that. But from an effectiveness standpoint and the way those ratings work, they were the same. So despite all the Lagway maligning that's going on out there, Jones wasn't any better when he came in. And I made this point, I think, on Saturday and definitely on social media on Saturday. And I'll get to it more in a minute. Yards per carry, 3.39 when we took out the one team yard for -1 because we don't count that team yardage in there. But 3.39 yards per carry, not good at all, especially against a Kentucky defense that, granted, their yards per carry average actually was pretty low, so that's actually not out of the realm for them, but we should have been able to run the ball better against them, especially with the light boxes we were seeing against them all night. There's not much to talk nicely about here, obviously, but I'll try to start positively. I did see some nice things from Baugh, right? We talked about it Saturday. Effort from him has continued to be there. And of course, as we have discussed all year, he's just an outstanding runner. I preach on it pretty much every week. He continues to show up and show out in every single game. I truly hope he gets the opportunity for the 1,000 yards because he really deserves it, right? And hey, maybe he'll get a $150 against FSU to take him over the mark. Who knows, right? That'd be nice, right? So maybe he'll get that shot. We will see. But time will tell, right? He may not even be within that striking distance by the time we get there. I don't know. The offensive line's going to have to do better for him to have that opportunity. A lot better than they did on Saturday night. So now for the rest of it. And ain't none of it good. Bad is the only word I have to describe pretty much the rest of the offense for the rest of the night, or all of the night, really. I really definitely did see guys, at least from all appearances, not putting forth full effort. I won't say there was no effort. I won't say it was a quit, but there were missed assignments blocking, or not holding a block for what appeared to be long enough. Now there's been some talk I've seen back and forth on things where, it was like, well, it's just because the play design didn't get that defender covered or whatever. I have a lot of trouble buying into that. I just do. This is not, especially in the run game, this is a very well-defined, well set up, good playbook for running, right? This isn't the problems that we see in the pass game, right? So these guys know what they're doing, and these are good plays. And no matter how Kentucky was choosing to cover that, I don't believe these guys were just missing assignments or doing the wrong things. They've been running this offense for a long time. Again, we're not changing a whole lot of stuff. And frankly, in the run game, we probably shouldn't be changing that many things. So you're just telling me all of a sudden Kentucky's got the secret sauce to destroy and eviscerate a run game that's been really good for many seasons with one of the better running backs we've had in it the entire time? Nope. Sorry. Not going to get me on board with that. There was absolutely a lack of full effort, a lack of full buy-in. I'm not going to go as far as to say I think players full on quit, but it was not the effort that we have seen out of this team in other games, in other seasons, right? This was just not it. So, especially in the O-line, especially up front. Things were just breaking down that shouldn't have. And I hear people making the argument too. We're 3-5. Why should they care? What do they have to play for? Well, Kentucky was 3-5 too. They weren't playing like it. So I'll leave it right there. Then there's the other point we discussed on Saturday, and that is that this offense is just so bad design-wise. I know we've preached this point 100 times, right? But teams know how to cover this stuff. And if you want to pass, you just get to put us in handcuffs in a million different ways. Kentucky actually played some more two-deep safety in this game, not something they typically do. They didn't do it all the time, but typically Kentucky's a very heavy cover 3 team. They actually played some two-deep in this game and forced us to throw underneath very often, because even when we did try to mix it up, quote unquote, and go vertical, the route concepts just weren't there, right, to do anything because of the coverage. They're just not scaring anybody. And I will say this, when we did have guys open downfield, Lagway was missing the throws because obviously he's just not throwing the ball like he was last season down the field. That's evidently clear. So there is fault at Lagway too. I'm not putting all the blame on this. But again, you saw Trammell come in. Did he hit open guys down the field? No, he did not, because it's not like they're open every play or something and Lagway just can't hit them. That's not what's going on. They're open sometimes, not always, but sometimes, and you still have to throw a pretty nice ball down there to get them. You have to throw a pretty accurate ball, because it's not like these windows are giant or ginormous, because again, these route concepts are just basically, okay, go vertical, guys, beat your man, or go vertical and find the space in the zone, right? Do what you need to do on that, because that's all we got for you. Sorry. Good luck. That's happy hunting. That's what you can go do. As I mentioned before, we did see some more good wrinkles. Again, not enough of them, but I loved the Lagway sneak from under center on 3rd and short. Hey, what a novel concept, right? We've been begging for that. That's great. Ball running outside instead of inside on 4th and 1. Hey, what did we talk about last week? What a great idea, right? These are the kind of things that we need to see more of, right? Little creativity, little wrinkles, things of that nature. But you got to break away from the core stuff being 95% of what we're still running. I'd like to see us break away from some of the formational stuff, quite frankly, but I don't see that as happening. So do something different with it if you're going to run all the same formational base. You can do it. Again, it's not impossible. We talked about it last week. Better route concepts downfield. And maybe the staff just doesn't have the ability. Maybe they just don't know how to do it. I don't know. Maybe you just don't have the creativity in the play calling or the design, the concepts, and they just feel like they're stuck with what they got, and that's what they're going to do. It seems like maybe that's the case, and that's pretty disappointing. That's all I got for offense, man. It's not a pretty picture. What do you got?
It's not a pretty picture, but I really can't disagree with your overall synopsis. Overall, you had some good things in there. What's tough about this? I think I'm still in kind of shock of what I saw, what we saw, what everybody saw.
Can't say as I blame you.
And it's just there. So I'll start it off this way. Lagway, 11 of 19, 57.9% completion percentage, 83 yards. And you thought against Miami was low at 66 or 68, sub 70. 1 touchdown, 3 picks. 0 sacks, though. 0 sacks. All right. Jones, 9 of 17, 52.9%, 60 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, a sack. Really tough game. Still a tough game to watch, much less process. Okay. Let's go over some stats here. 17 first downs, 104 net rushing yards, 143 net passing. Total yards, 247. Eek. We did have to punt the ball 3 times. Another team did not have to punt the ball at all. Get into that. For 83 yards. Subpar performance from Mr. Doman, under 30 yards a punt.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeek. Okay. Time of possession, 28 and change. No big variance, right? Sub 3 minutes apart from Kentucky. Third down conversion, 7 of 15. Like, hey, there's kind of a bright spot. We almost hit 50%. Oh, but wait, Kentucky hit 67%. Yeah, there's that. Okay, great. Any other highlights? Jaden Baugh. Jaden Baugh is always a bright spot. The kid just has a motor. He has an engine. He has a spirit. He has a way about him that's just, you would think it's infectious, but either way, 17 attempts, 70 total yards, loss of 6, so 64 net yards. He ended up with 3.8 yards average. DJ was our second leading rusher, 5 attempts at 27 yards, 8 yards a carry. J. Michael Sturdivant, 29 yards on 3 receptions. TJ Abrams, 28 yards on 4 receptions. So here's the other thing that's interesting. You have J. Michael Sturdivant had a long of 12 yards. TJ Abrams had a long of 17 yards. Jaden Baugh had a reception long of 11 yards. That was that touchdown. Vernell Brown, VB3, 22-yard was his long. 2 targets, 1 reception for that long 22-yard reception. KD Daniels, 2 receptions, 14 yards, 11 was the long. Aiden Mizell, 2 receptions, 10 yards. So the ball was spread around a fairly decent way, just wasn't enough of it.
Just with one explosive. So, yeah.
With one explosive, right? That's it. Really hard to watch, B. Jaden Baugh is always a bright spot, like I mentioned. But what's really tough is to see that this, I haven't mentioned it in a week or so, but hey, a couple of weeks maybe, but hey, that great vanilla or a great value frostbitten vanilla is probably going to be downgraded to some Clover Valley vanilla. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, it was bad.
I want to get into a couple different things here. There was a stat that I saw. Gators have a pre-snap motion percentage of 61% over the past 3 seasons. That actually led FBS. Against UGA last week, it was 36%, and I tried to get the number against Kentucky. I couldn't find it. 2 different sources had it at 32% and 34%. Either way, it's less. So pre-snap motion, Napier tried to window dress a couple things with a lot of motion, a lot of people doing this, going left, going right, fading out, fading back. Didn't do a whole lot, right? Obviously. If we're going to simplify things for Lagway, that's good, but it still is the Napier offense. Take away the pre-snap motion. The concepts are the same. The calls are the same. The timing, a little different. I like what you said there about the few wrinkles regarding Ball coming out of the backfield on that touchdown catch. Hey, DJ, as far as under center on that, some really cool things. Outside of that, we're not seeing enough of it. This game boiled down to, I think, one main thing: lack of preparedness. And it showed. It showed in a big way. Folks, I hate to say it this way, but you just don't deserve to win 4 turnovers and a half. 3 picks, 1 fumble. You just don't deserve to win, period. The run blocking, also something that did not make the trip to Lexington. Ball had to fight for every single bit of yardage he had. And another thing that I'll get to is the fact that this offensive line, we started the season, our preseason pod, we were just arms up in the air about this offensive line, the returning starters, the glue, the scar tissue, the experience, the everything anchored by Jake Slaughter in the center. Still anchored by Jake Slaughter, but outside of that, not sure what else we've got. Because they have been up and down and so bipolar this season. This is the 5th time this season the Gators have averaged less than 4 yards per rush. 2 of those 5 times below 3 yards per rush. Ugh. 3 of the 8 offensive linemen graded above 60 on run blocking by Pro Football Focus. Barely above 60.
For the game or the season?
On the season.
Okay.
On the season.
Yeah, it's not great.
I apologize. In this game against Kentucky. Yes, in this game.
Okay.
Instead of having a set rotation, a set 5 on the offensive line, there's been heavy rotations this year. 8 linemen recording over 100 snaps. Of those 8 linemen, 6 have less than a 70 overall PFF grade. And 3 of the 6 have less than a 50 overall PFF grade.
That is not good.
Not good at all. And how many offensive line coaches do we have, B? I'm just curious.
Still 2, last I checked.
Still 2. DeCoster and Safe.
Apparently it's like quarterbacks. If you have 2, you have none.
Exactly. Not sure what's going on, man. We've had extensive conversation on this. We thought the O-line was going to be a bright spot. It has not been a bright spot.
Not by a long shot.
Okay. We're thinking, okay, well, guess what? Napier's gone. Okay. So game management, that's going to change. Play calling, cadence, tempo, timing, that's going to change. I mean, it has. Do you realize right now, let me just take a quick sidestep to procedural penalties. Do you realize that from a procedural penalty just total penalty standpoint, we're averaging 5.22 a game, B? That's top 40 in the nation. That's
how many in these last 2 games? Less than that.
Less than that.
Yep.
I'm like, holy smokes. Yep. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The offense is less than pedestrian. It's terrible. It's terrible. And again, like we mentioned, you can't come in end of the season and reinvent the offense. No, but again, Ryan O'Hara, no disrespect to him, product of Napier. Yep. Russ Callaway, offensive coordinator, I believe in name only. As far as what collaboration they're going to have with 3 games left, I don't expect too much of it. The main thing that I would expect and or hope for is these guys to play for each other. And I can't even say that they're doing that. So I'm leaving the offense.
Look like it to me.
Football. I'm sorry, B?
I just said sure didn't look like it to me.
Right. So offense, lack thereof, really hard to watch, really tough to watch. Really tough. That's it, B.
Yeah, now on to the positive of the defense. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
Oh, wait.
Train wreck number 2.
Struggled. Defense. The other piece that stayed in Gainesville. All right. Cutter Boley. What a name. QBR. Folks, you've heard B mention anything above 100 is pretty daggum solid. Well, guess what? Cutter Boley with a total QBR of 107.97. Yikes. 18 of 23, 78.3% completion percentage. Let's get into yards per carry. Team yardage minus Allen, 5.6.
9.
And as Tommy Boy would say,
5.69, really 5.7.
Okay, 5.7. Go ahead and give him an extra 0.8, B. No problem. Rub it in. Rub it in or run it in. However you want to do it. Yes, exactly. Yikes.
Somewhere Ray Davis is smiling.
He's smiling and still running. Yes.
Smiling and still running. Yes.
Yeah, Cutter Boley, only 168 yards, folks. Cutter Boley, not really a 5-star QB, 4-star QB. Looked like it, though. We made him look like it in a big way.
I mean, when your receivers are as open as, I don't know, 7-Eleven, it makes it easy.
Exactly. 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, and I'm sure that INT brought down his QBR a little bit. Without that INT, he's probably around 128, 130. Interesting. Dante Dowdle, 7 attempts, 104 yards on the ground.
That's a
Seth
pretty good per
McGowan.
carry average.
Yeah. Seth McGowan, 22 rushes, 90. We almost gave up 2 100-yard rushers in the same game. What the absolute heck? Serious, folks. Kentucky, 24 first downs, 233 net rushing yards, 168 net passing, 401 total offensive yards, folks, from Kentucky, a basketball school. My favorite stat for Kentucky on the night, 0 punts, 0 yards. What?
Yep.
Mind-boggling.
Wow.
Like I mentioned earlier about the third down conversions, 8 of 12 and 2 of 3 on fourth downs. Unbelievable. Here's the thing. Cutter Boley ate up our secondary as if he was, like I mentioned earlier, a 4 or 5 star. Cutter Boley has not showed this type of promise this year. This is by far his best game of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? But guess what? We saw what they were doing in the second quarter. We saw they put up 21 points in the quarter, their most in any quarter this season. So what do we do at halftime? We make adjustments, right? Oh, we didn't. We kind of did. We came out kind of flat. As a matter of fact, Kentucky got the ball in the third quarter to start the third quarter, and they marched down the field for a touchdown. Holy smokes. Cutter Boley looked so comfortable all night. Barely got any stains on his shirt. I get it, turf field, but still.
Yeah.
Allowed 21 in that second quarter. Like I mentioned, Kentucky's most all season. Not to mention 35 unanswered. Unanswered when it was 7-3. Unbelievable. This Gator defense allowed the largest deficit against Kentucky since 1979 when the Wildcats won that game 31-3. Another point out. Very interesting to me to see Kentucky go for it on fourth down with zero hesitation.
And get it, by the way.
Repeat that.
And get it.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. If it's fourth and short, they're going to think about it. Oh, yeah, well, they've got this D-line. They've got these edges. They've got this push. They have it's fourth and 2. No, let's go. Let's just go. We got them where we want them. What? Really hard to watch. Really hard to watch. Some bright spots on defense. Well, guess what? Sharif Denson, here are your flowers. 11 total tackles, 9 solo, 2 assisted. Led the team in tackles. Great job. Jordan Castell, 7 total tackles. Cameron James, 6 total tackles. Tackle for loss, sack. Devin Moore, 6 tackles. Bryce Thornton, 6 tackles. George Gums, 5 tackles. Tackle for loss. Aaron Childs, 5 tackles. A tackle for loss. And a host of others at 4 and 3. Overall, total tackles for the team, 69. This is our third game this season. The defense has recorded less than 70 tackles. Of course, a bright spot. We had a pick. Yay, rah. But overall, this defense continued to get gashed and give up extremely big plays. A lot of explosives. Okay. Of course, Dante Dowdle, the explosive run of 65 yards. You had Cutter Boley with explosive run of 15 yards. You had Kendrick Law, a long of 25. J.J. Hester, a long of 29. DJ Miller, a long of 18. Jamori McClain, a long of 17. Jason Patterson, a long of 15. Fred Ferrier, a long of 13. Too many explosive plays given up. And a defense we saw that did not make adjustments, that did not get aggressive, got no push. Really tough to watch. By far, when you look at what happened last week against Georgia, you figure, okay, that's what happened against Georgia. Respectable, coming down to the end. We fought, a lot of grit in that game. This game, did not expect that defense to lay an offer. Really, really tough to see. I'll stop there, B.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tough. We gotta get out of the depressive funk here if we can, but it's hard to do, right?
It is.
It's hard to
It
do
really is.
when you saw what you saw, right? Yeah, so difficult because we really made a bad team look good, right? This is not a good team. Period. There's no narrative where this is a good Kentucky team. They are not. They are bad. They were 1-5 in the SEC. They were 3-5 overall. They're not a good football team. They're just not. There's no part of them that is good. We outranked them significantly in the composite rankings. We were more talented. There's no reason we shouldn't have won this football game. There's absolutely no reason that it should have been a lopsided blowout. Period. The only way a more talented team that has been playing well all year, especially on defense anyway, makes a less talented team look that good is by not putting in the full effort or by getting just completely out-schemed. Now, I do think we got out-schemed in this game. I will say that on this side of the ball. On this side of the ball. Kentucky threw some stuff at us that they don't typically, for sure. But I don't really care because there's still no excuse for what happened. We can talk about their QB having one of his most accurate games throwing the ball that he's had, right? But I don't really care because there's still no excuse for this. We can talk about Roberts staying in zone the way that he always does, even when the stuff they were calling was torching it. But I don't really care. Actually, I kind of do care about that one, but in the context of the point I'm making, I still don't care. And then at the end of it all, there was a lack of effort, at least by certain members of the defense. Not everybody, right? We talked about it on Saturday. I'm not saying that everybody just didn't, show up or show out or stayed in Gainesville or whatever we talked about, right? And there's a lot of narrative going around right now about the word quit, right? I just had something pop up where, Gonzalez was addressing it today and saying he didn't see that or whatever. And of course he's going to say that. But there were guys not playing as hard as we've seen guys on this team play. There just were. Now, everything I also just said was true. But again, I don't fully care because I know that with a better effort, a higher motor, more energy, that we could have still made plays that we weren't making in this game, right? No real push.
No.
By the D-line. Why? Lack of effort, period. I don't care what you say. That's a lack of effort. No real pass rush all night. Why? Lack of effort.
Yes.
When I'm saying push on the D-line, I'm talking about just pushing the line of scrimmage in general, not necessarily specifically talking about pass rush. Wide open receivers all night long. Whether the concepts we were playing were great or not, they were wide open all night. Some of that, at least, comes from a lack of effort. And last but not least, a lot of missed tackles for extra yardage. That always comes, at least somewhat, from a lack of effort, especially up against the running backs, right? We had those guys miss tackles left and right back there, getting or push through tackles, pushing the pile, right? Over and over and over again. They were pushing the pile forward, pushing the pile forward, pushing the pile forward. They wanted that more. Those are the want yards in there, and they just wanted that more. They just did in those situations. They were pushing harder. They were trying harder than we were in those situations. We were not fighting as hard as they were. Now, is that quitting? No, not necessarily. But is it putting forth your maximum effort? Absolutely not. And that's the point that I want to make sure I get across, because there's no way we were putting forth maximum effort in this game, not even close. So I won't say quit, but I will say a visible lack of effort, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe they're just fed up with the offense, not doing what they need to be doing, trying to carry this team. Maybe. I don't know. And I get it if that's the case. Maybe they're just over it in general. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's got to do something different moving forward for the last few games of the season. You've got some big games. You've got stuff to play for here. I'll talk more about that later. Yeah. But we got to figure out something to turn this around, or this is going to get a lot harder to watch. Yes, I said that. It's going to get a lot harder to watch than it was on Saturday night. Saturday night was especially tough for me because of my personal feelings about Kentucky in general. But, and I mean the school, not the state, so nobody gets offended here. But overall, things could get a lot worse with some of the opponents that we're going to play. Because we're going to play opponents that are as talented or more talented than we are down the stretch. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. Technically, we're not playing anybody more talented than us down the stretch, but close to as talented once we get to Tennessee. So that's something you got to keep in mind. So overall, I'm just extremely disappointed in the defense. Obviously, how could you not be, right? Especially in this game, because there's just no excuse. There's none. I don't care what it is, but to give out that amount of points to, again, a bad Kentucky team, there's no excuse, period. And I'm done. That's it. Short and sweet. I don't have anything else to say. Because if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But I said a bunch of not nice things, but they were true. So it is what it is. All right, Advisor throw. I'm not actually going to go on very long with this either, because all the points I've made, or I have to make, I kind of already made, but I'm going to just go into a couple of them a little differently and a little more in depth. So I've only got 2. I know that might be shocking, but I only have 2. First one, again, I've already hit on these, but way too much Napier still in the playbook, still in offense, right? We have got to throw more of the playbook in or out. Pick one. I don't care, but you got to stop doing so much of what we're doing. We just got to do it. They can pick which one they want to do, right? Bring more stuff in that we haven't run, or take the stuff out that we are running and do something different. I don't care, but something has got to change. Because if we continue to call the same stuff that teams have seen on film for 3.5 years, how many times do I have to say it? Please listen. They will just keep shutting it down, and we will continue to get absolutely torched and not score any points, by the way. This will continue to be what it is, because Kentucky just implored the Miami game plan on us. That's what happened. How many points we score against Miami, Randy?
Not 7. A lot, Pete. 7.
How many points score against Kentucky? 7. Are you seeing a theme? It's not that hard. Anybody with a defensive brain can figure out how to slow this thing down. And that's not accusing the teams that we scored more on that they can't, but we implored some different things in some of those games a little bit. When Wilson's coming out party was there, they weren't ready for that, right? There were things that allowed us to score more in certain games. We executed some things better in certain games. We maybe threw some different wrinkles in terms of what we were doing in certain games. I'm not saying that it's impossible for us to not score more than 7 if somebody plays against this stuff right, but what I am saying is when we fall into some of these tendencies and run stuff like this, it's very difficult, if the team has done any kind of homework on us, for us to do anything. Especially if Lagway's having a tough day out there, which he pretty much does every week. And that's too bad, for the record. I still don't know fully what that is. I'm hearing a lot more injury speculation now, something that you and I were speculating about at the beginning of the season, and others really weren't. Interesting.
Right.
A lot more of that coming back into the fold now, right? A lot of people more and more thinking he's hurt now. We were talking about that very early on. We suspected something more was wrong early on. I still think it is. I know you've got your mental concerns with him as well, and I think those are a part of it too. I think it's a mix. I think you've got a lot of bad stuff going on for DJ right now, and I actually feel for the kid a lot. I still have belief that he can be a good quarterback, but a lot of things are going to have to change, and I don't know that he can be a good quarterback this season, for the record. I just don't know that he can be. That's not a knock on him. I just think there might be too many things that are wrong. So if he's going to have any shot at it, you've got to give him better options than what he's getting right now, and that is to my point here. All right, that's point number 1. Number two, I already mentioned it ad nauseum, but the lack of effort. I will simply say this. If this interim staff as a whole doesn't find a way to motivate this team for 3, again, big games to finish this season, and they are big games, right? Right now, you're still playing for bowl eligibility. But if you lose one and you're not, there's still 2 big games, right, that are left if you lose this week, which we likely will. But if they can't figure out a way to get the team to show up better than they did on Saturday for the remaining 3 games of the schedule, win or lose, right? If I see that level of effort, I want more people fired. I don't even care. Fire them all. Let the kids coach themselves at this point. I mean, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That was unacceptable. That was not anywhere near the Gator standard of football that I saw on Saturday night, period. I was sick. I was absolutely sick. I am beyond upset with it. I don't know that I will get that taste out of my mouth for a long, long time. And I'll leave it with this. We have now lost 4 out of 5 games to Kentucky and 5 out of 8 games to Kentucky. They are working on dominating us. Are you kidding me? That has to stop right now, because that is, without question, a substandard football program. It has nothing to do with us. Look at their record. They suck every year. They've had like 2 good seasons in the last 20 years. They are not a good football program. Why do we keep losing to them? That makes no sense. It has to stop. Period. That's all I got for Visor Throw. What do you
got? Great call outs. The latter one I will address later on. But I had a similar one there. But believe it or not, my biggest one advisor throw is what you mentioned previously by the defense. More on the defense side of football than the offense side of football, but lack of effort. We're actually in alignment there. I would not say quit, but effort, lack of effort is pretty dang. A lot of people say, well, what's the difference? That same as quitting. Well, no. I guess the score could have been 48-7, but I digress. That is some of, yes, you mentioned painful to watch, but it's not just that. It's the actual tackling or lack thereof that took place. It was a lot of the different things that I saw players doing, especially on defense, in the secondary that was very, very elementary to me. The angles that were being taken, the sprinting, not running, that I saw from various players. On the offensive side of the football, this O-line was being Now, again, Kentucky, I'll bring this up later on in another segment as well. Kentucky had some familiar faces on their O-line that we know very well. And I'm telling you, B, they had their way. With our D-line. And it was just very hard to see Tyreek Sapp push 4, 5, 6 steps, 5, 6, and then back off. It's like, what? Is he really not finishing that play? Gums. Okay, I know we know Gums has been hurt all season. Had a great game. Showed up a couple weeks ago. 3, 4, 5 steps. Slow it down. Shut it down. Very interesting. On the offensive side of the football, could not get any push, could not define the line, could not hold the trenches, nothing. I equate all of that to effort. So, did we think, oh, Kentucky, they've got a similar record than us. They're in a similar spot. We can come in and just kind of go through the motions. And what did we think? No idea.
I don't know.
No idea. DJ's picks. I'm not going to single out 1, 2, or 3. I'm just going to say DJ's picks. if he's not seeing a safe, clearly, if he's not seeing, he's overthrowing, whatever he is doing, why can't we set this kid up to be successful? Why can't we throw more slants? Why can't we throw more short yardage passes? I'm not necessarily saying use bubbles and screens like we love to do with Napier, because as we know, this is still his offense being executed by O'Hara. Fine, whatever the case might be. But why can't we find some high percentage plays to put this kid in some kind of environment that is familiar and comfortable to him, that can calm his down, that can calm down the processing, that can calm down his feet, that can calm down his arm, put him in wins and allow those little wins of a 5-yard or a 7-yard or even a 10-yard reception allow the run game to open up. Why? Why can't we do that? I am still seeing way too much of Napier. And unless they're completely frustrated, I felt this offensive line allowed various things to happen, which in turn meant that gaps didn't open up. Certain run blocking was not being done. Outside of that, oh gosh, I'm just going to stop there. I got two more, but I'm just going to stop because I think a lot of people are still in shock after this game, just in general, the product that was put on there. Because believe it or not, it reminded me a lot of the Miami game, especially the push that Kentucky's Lions got, much less the score.
Well, yeah, except it was against the run instead of the pass. But yeah, it was kind of the inverse in that regard. But yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So. Yeah, all right. I'm fine with it, honestly. Enough of the depressing stuff. Let's move on. Not depressing yet, but it will be. Hatchlings recruiting. More and more rumors, but again, no flips yet, no decommits yet. But with Tank shutting down his play for redshirting, this is obviously a current player, not a recruit. You'd assume there will be recruits that'll likely move similarly and start to decommit. I mean, again, I think it's just a matter of time. I'd be shocked if it's not a matter of time. Maybe they're just kind of waiting to see who the coach is going to be, and that's what they're going to wait and make their decision on. And that's why they haven't flipped yet. I don't know. But the interesting thing I will say is a lot of the other programs that have fired coaches have lost recruits and we haven't yet. I do find that a little weird. I'm not sure what's keeping them committed right now. So I guess credit to Gonzalez or somebody on the staff that's keeping these guys in the fold right now.
Jacob LaFrance.
Yeah, LaFrance. Yeah. Maybe we're doing some good things there. I guess we can give some positivity there that we haven't lost anybody yet, because I think everybody else that has lost a coach has lost at least one, if not multiple commits that I've seen.
Penn State's lost multiple. Yeah.
Penn State's multiple. I think LSU's lost, I know, at least one, possibly two. Okay, one. So there's definitely been some changes that have come about since these firings with a lot of places. Auburn, I guess, may not have yet, but that was more recent. But so yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. But yeah, we still haven't yet. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, now that I've said that, we'll lose 5 tomorrow. So there you go.
I do have one interesting bit to throw out here. I'm not sure if you saw this graphic from ESPN, but Florida has had 52 4- and 5-star recruits since 2022. That ranks us 12th in overall FBS. Very interesting.
Yeah, we're also 12th on the composite, so there you go. Makes sense.
Right.
So, yeah. All right. Moving on. I said we were done with the depressing stuff, but maybe we're not. Pride of the Sunshine. Let's talk some culture. I'll let you start us off here. What do you got?
Yeah, man. Okay, I'll try and keep this as short as I can. From 1987 to 2017, the Gators won 31 straight. Overall, UF leads the series 54 wins to Kentucky's 21 wins. However, Kentucky's beaten Florida 4 of the past 5 years and won 5 of the past 7, going back to 2018 when the Cats shocked the Gators in the swamp. Again, this is Kentucky. This is Rupp Arena. This is Pitino. This is Calipari. Tubby Smith. This is not a football school. Just saying. So just again, play for that. I mean, come on, seriously.
Yeah.
I got another one for you. There's about 2:19 left to go in the second quarter. There was a blown coverage, busted coverage, missed assignment, whatever the case might be. I'm not sure if you saw this, B, or anybody else saw it, but I saw Denson and Cormani get into each other's faces and have a very heated argument.
I did not see that.
B, I can't tell you the last time I saw that on this team. That is
I'm actually not mad about that. If somebody messed something up, I actually don't hate that.
Sure. Not mad about it, but at the same time, that just shows you the disconnect.
Yeah.
That these guys might have right now.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna make a quote. I'm gonna make a quote by Billy G. He said this when he took over 3 weeks ago, sorry. You play for the patch, but you represent the name on the back of the jersey. I don't know what the hell we played for Saturday night, B.
Yep. Yeah. Apparently neither.
I really don't. Couple things that I gleaned from the post-game press conference. Billy G, of course, hey, it's on me. It starts with me. I'll take full responsibility. Right? Sounds like Napier. No problem. Mm-hmm. Whatever. A lot of coach speak in there. A lot of, okay, they weren't ready. We weren't prepared. That's on me. Okay, fine. Whatever. Some quotes by Miles Graham I thought were very interesting when he came up to the podium. And I'll just share a few. Miles, quote unquote, I was blindsided by the way we played. What? Really?
All right.
It was absolutely unacceptable. I did not expect it. Okay. Not up to our standard. Wow.
Agreed.
Okay. Didn't prepare the right way. What day did we? What was the way that you prepared? Did you prepare to go in to play a team that was 3-5? Like what? I mean, it's just Kentucky. Basketball school. We got this.
Yeah.
We didn't come with the right energy. No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding.
But why? Why is that, B? Go back to your point earlier about the coaching staff. I get it.
Yep.
We have an interim head coach, but nobody else on the staff has been switched out.
Yep.
There's a lot to play for in these last games here in this stretch.
Yep.
A lot. Okay?
Yep.
I'll leave that there. Next segment. Or next statement. We are no longer dealing with student athletes. We are dealing with highly compensated and needy student athletes. And I'm going to say a couple comments here that's going to cause some strife, but I have to defend them. I made comments about Lagway previously, last week, week before. I'm seeing the shoulders come down. I'm seeing the eyes. Again, is it between the ears? Is it the injury? And B, this is one great thing that I enjoy about our dialogue. You had a great comment about, guess what, man? What if he doesn't handle losing well? I can't disagree with that. Okay? But here's what I know. When you're a coach in this business, because it is a business, let's face it.
Oh, yeah.
How do we manage expectations when it comes to a record? Because you are what your record indicates you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we just bench you there? No, we fire you. Here's the thing about DJ. Whether it's between the ears, whether it's the mechanics, whether it's his health, whether he doesn't lose, so he's not dealing well. That's why you see the shoulders slouch. That's why you see the eyes glossed over. That's why you see him not talking to his team as much. That's why you see his chin down. Regardless of the fact, he is a highly compensated student athlete. He needs to be treated as such. There needs to be accountability there, the same way there's accountability with a coach, coaching staff, anywhere else in the system. Because we as in society has taken this great game of college football, where some would argue it was better off when we knew kids were getting money in Publix bags and McDonald's bags, whatever you want to cater to. But there's a level of accountability that needs to be had. And for a lot of people out there wondering about the benching and this and that and the other, will it help him come to his senses? Was that a reality check? Don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
We will see. Did not enjoy to see some of the players' body language in this game. Going back to the E word, effort. It was apparent and it was visceral and not in a good way at all.
Nope.
And the last thing I'll leave you, and I mentioned it earlier, 2 familiar faces on the other side of the football, 2 interior offensive linemen, Josh Braun, Jalen Farmer.
Yep.
And both, according to PFF, graded out north of 80.
Yep.
I'll just leave it there.
Yep.
What do you got, B?
Guys who couldn't grade out north of 60 when they played for us. Just saying. Ever.
With 2 offensive line coaches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ever. So yeah, that ought to tell you a lot. Yeah, so I questioned this last week, right, in the wrap up, in terms of how they would handle this and move forward. Yeah. But I didn't really think it was going to happen. And then it happened. The culture of this team pretty much went to shambles in 1 week. We went from a unit that never quit, never saw quit in this team. We talked about it time and time and time again, to a group that had multiple players that just looked like they didn't really much care a whole lot, quite frankly. Certainly once the game got out of hand. And that's something you just did not see from this group, right? Again, not necessarily using the word quit for what we saw, but the effort just was not there, as we talked about. I will say this wasn't everyone, as we've talked about, right? We mentioned those, called them out specifically, mostly on Saturday, but, just as I mentioned, you had other guys that really didn't want to get off the plane, right? Like Tank, who literally didn't get on the plane, right? So culture is now an issue with this team, right? Like it or not, it's now an issue. It has to be addressed. It has to be talked about. It has to be dealt with moving forward here. And we have to see if anything can be done moving forward to unite this group, right, for the last 3 games, because it's not just about motivation now. It's also about how do we get everybody back and get them on the same page. I'm hopeful that some of the team leadership, we supposedly have good team leadership on this team, right, internally. I'm hoping some of the leaders, right, the upperclassmen or guys that have established themselves as leaders on the team, whether they're upperclassmen or not, right, are going to come together and really hopefully drive some of that. I think we need that right now as much as anything, right? Because you don't necessarily have that head coach figure to look to. Again, this was the thing Napier did so well, and we always gave him credit for it. He's gone now, and not wrongfully so, right? We're not complaining about that. But This is the area where if I had concern, this would have been it. And unfortunately, looks like that might be the case. So hopefully we can get that turned around. All right, moving along. Officiating. Move back, you suck. Officiating was okay in this one. Really didn't have a lot of gripes, though, frankly, it wasn't my biggest focus considering the outcome, not going to lie. I will call out a few things. I did see a hold on us against one of their D linemen, not sure who, that I thought was pretty blatant. We hooked the arm as he was coming by. I think it was on the right tackle, so it would either have been Lovett or Jones. I'm not sure who it was that was in at the time. But that should have been called. Okay. You thought it was George? Okay, it could have been George. It could have been. I thought it was pretty blatant, wasn't flagged. I did feel Ball had at least one face mask, really debatably 2, but the other one was pretty minor. But there was one face mask penalty that I thought should have been flagged. It wasn't. It didn't actually turn his head, but definitely got face mask contact and kind of pulled his head down. So I think maybe because it didn't have the turned head, it didn't get flagged, though there was a flag on that play. Just wasn't for that. And there were a couple of first down spots that were highly questionable in this game. They were just like, yeah, you were within about a yard. We'll just go ahead and give you the first down. I'm like, what? But they did that both ways, really. Though I do think the more egregious of the two I'm referring to was given to Kentucky. But at the end of the day, who cares? It was 38-7. So again, it didn't really matter. I was really glad to see them get a review play right. It can be done. What do you know? What do you know? It can happen. You can review a play and you can get the call right, despite it being really close, right? And despite them getting the call wrong on the field. You looked at the replay evidence, and there was evidence to overturn a call, and then you got to change it. What an interesting thing we learned, Randy. I didn't know they could do that. I didn't know that was allowed. I learned something. That's all I got. Go ahead.
Kudos. Well done. Believe it or not, yeah, so that was a big hold on George, not call. It was about less than 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Pretty blatant. Almost looked like the old clothesline. But anyways, that was that.
It was an arm bar. It was the arm bar.
Arm bar. Yep. Get this, less than a minute to go in the first quarter. It's about 42, 44, 45 seconds. The ball goes out on a quick out route, a Kentucky wide receiver. He loses a couple of yards, right? He immediately is down. And if you remember, his knee goes down. You've got an official on the sideline 5 yards away, 7 yards away, because he's at the numbers.
Yeah.
Waits about 1,001, then blows the whistle. So this is what's wild. The Kentucky sideline wants a late hit because, of course, we had a DB come over.
I know the play you're talking about, but he waited too long to blow the whistle. Yeah, I know the play you're talking about.
Right. What are you doing? You are right there. You see his right knee go down. Blow the dadgum. That's how injuries happen. That's how extracurriculars happen.
Yeah.
Blow the dadgum whistle.
Yeah, I was glad they didn't. I was glad they didn't flag us for that play because it was a late whistle. I was glad they didn't do that.
Absolutely late. Gosh. Anyways, took them forever to blow the whistle. So, I digress. Mid-second quarter, there was some stretch yardage given to Kentucky, as you mentioned it. It's like go gadget arm, go gadget first down. Good Lord. At least a yard and a half short. And then again, and then, towards the very next possession, then it was J. Michael Sturdivant, some catch and yak that was ruled short of a first down. It looked like it was a first down. And I don't know. It was just tough to me with this crew especially. And then, of course, less than 30 seconds left to go in the half. Jaden Baugh, face mask, held on a run, not called. I did see that as well. But clearly the side judge did not see it. Again, folks, we're not saying that officiating changed the outcome of this game. And apparently
certainly not
changed the outcome of this game. But I will say this white hat, this referee, Steve Marlowe, he is your prototypical SEC referee, and he has been involved in some very controversial games over the year. He's done some Auburn games. He's done some Georgia games. Again, Steve Marlowe, not high on the list as far as what we consider a good official, but regardless of the fact, at least those decisions, those actions did not affect the outcome of this game. But yes, I did see a couple of the same things you did, B.
Randy, do we have any SEC officials that are high on the list as far as we consider good officials?
No comment.
All right, moving along. Let's get to wrap up here. Give me your thoughts. Where do we go from here, man? Because I don't know if I know.
You know what? No, I don't know. And when I look at where the team is now, and never, ever, ever in my wildest dreams would think at this point in the season we are 3-6 overall and 2-4 in conference play. I was trying to think of a word to sum up this game. And, we talked about lack of effort. We talked about execution or the lack thereof. The defense breakdown. So I was thinking about breakdown, right? We had a breakdown on defense. The offensive is still broken down. But I think at the end of the day, this game, I would have to sum it up. The one word I would use to sum everything up is lost. We look absolutely lost out there Saturday night. We played with almost no purpose. Again, not everyone, but the sum of the parts, I tell you, it just looked as if we were absolutely lost. No purpose, no direction. The offense could not get going. The defense looked absolutely uncharacteristic in what they gave up, in how they gave it up, and when they gave it up. And that's the other thing, too, when I look at the scoring in this game and I look at what transpired, because here's the other thing that's really tough. We talk about, okay, well, you stack plays, you do this, you do that. And okay, I can understand that. But at the end of the day, it's just so tough when you get a possession and then you give up a pick and then you give up a score and then you get it back and then you have a turnover on downs and then you give it up and then they get a score and then you get it back and then you've got another pick and then you just go from possession to possession to possession, just getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, and now we're staring down the barrel of Ole Miss, Tennessee, and FSU. Obviously, one game at a time. Ole Miss, where do we go from here? We're in Oxford. Okay? We just went to Lexington. We left everything in Gainesville. Now we got to go to Oxford with a very capable team, with a very salty coach, with a lot of weapons on offense. Okay? In the famous words of Richard from Tommy Boy, yikes.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah, no, I feel similarly for sure. First and foremost, as we have expressed all evening, I am still just completely disgusted by this result. I'm not going to stop being that way for a long time. Maybe 31 more victories, I'll get the taste out of my mouth, but not until then. And I'm sure anybody that loves this program like you and I do feel the same way. But maybe more concerningly is I don't know where we go from here, like I said. I mentioned last week, and I brought this up earlier, that I had some concerns going in, but I didn't really think that they were that real, right? I was kind of like, well, it could be a problem, but I don't think so. Sure. But now I'm worried, right? Now it's a real problem. Now I know it is, right? I mean, does Lane hang 100 on us? What's going to happen, right? Because he's got no qualms right now showing up and showing out and putting it all on us because of this whole thing, right? He'll do that just to troll, whether he comes here or not, right? It doesn't matter. He'll just do that because of who he is, right? So he'll do that so he can tweet about it later. That's just Lane. So is there something we can do? Can we get creative? Can we play with more effort? Can we put different stuff in the playbook? Can we actually give them a fight in Oxford, this week and do something different? For my money, no chance. I don't think there's any way that happens, honestly. I hope it does, but no, I don't think so. But what I do know is I thought we were going to win last week. So the fact that I think we have no chance this week doesn't mean anything because I don't know what's going on. So who knows? It's a crapshoot, everybody. So just, hang on to your hats and let's see what happens. So that's all I got. That's all I got because I don't know what the heck's going on. Ever, apparently. All right. Like you said, all we are is wrong, right? All we are is wrong.
Just spot the ball. That's I'm just waiting on Lane to tweet that very same thing at the conclusion of the contest next Saturday.
Probably the beginning, the end, and possibly also at halftime. Who knows? All right.
Fine.
Okay. Keep it or pitch it. we both had an abysmal week. We both went 1-2. Missed got different ones right, got different ones wrong. But just to recap, the one we both got wrong is that we are currently averaging 1.9 sacks per game. That the defense will improve this weekend. Nope. Recording at least 3 sacks. Nothing about that was an improvement. We both kept that. We were both very wrong, recording only 1 against, I think, the backup. Oh no, it was Cam. I'm sorry, it was Cam James got 1 on Boley. But okay,
yeah.
All right. Number 2, DJ Lagway will have had his most prolific SEC passing game last season against Kentucky. Now that he's feeling healthier, as he stated Saturday, this weekend he will have a get right game for him and pass for over 270 yards. Oh man, yeah, it's laughable. I kept that. Whoops. You got that one right by a long shot, man. You almost deserve 2 points for that one. And then last but not least, Florida's defense currently ranks 32nd in the country, allowing 20.5 points per game. Not anymore. The defense will turn up the heat in Lexington on Saturday and hold Kentucky under 17 points. I pitched that one, and you got that one way wrong. They more than doubled that number. So there we go. The train wreck continues. I'm now 11-16. You are still looking good at 16-11, so we are inverted there. So there you go.
Wow.
There you go.
Inverted. Yep. Was that a Top Gun reference?
Sure. We'll go for it. Whatever. We'll just go from there. All right. So now for this week's installment, and we're just making these up as we go. So bear with us. No, the data's not made up, but our guesses sure as heck are, because again, who the heck knows what's going to happen at this point?
Exactly.
So I used to feel like I had a pretty good beat on these things. Now I'm just blindly feeling my way around in the dark. So Ole Miss ranks number 7 in the nation in passing offense at 305.5 passing yards per game. Not a good number for us coming into this. The Gators rank 61 in passing yards allowed at 214, almost 100 less in yards per game allowed. The Gators will hold Ole Miss and Chambliss to 260 yards passing or less on Saturday. Keep it or pitch it.
B, I would love to keep it. However, I am going to pitch it.
Yeah, zero faith pitching it, 100%. Not even a question for me on that one. I mean, I guess I'd like there to be, but I just can't with what I just saw and the stuff we're doing and how Lane picks teams apart. I think Robert's defense is a little too predictable. Does. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. You think? And if Kentucky can scheme up Robert's stuff, then Lane can. So there you go. All right. Ole Miss ranks 24th in the nation, converting 47.4% of their third downs. The Gators rank 102nd in the nation in third down defense. We just keep getting worse in this metric, allowing teams to convert 42.2% of their third downs, so a little less than what they give up. But we're going to say they do better than their average and much better than Ole Miss's, and the Gators defense will be renewed and hold Ole Miss to under 40% on third down conversions. Keep it or pitch it.
I am going to pitch that one as well, B.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here. The one thing that the Sims were consistent about is that we kept that number low, and I'm going to keep this one. I'm just going to go out on a wild hair. I actually don't think that we will, but I'm going to pick that we do just because. So yeah, we'll probably give up 90 because I picked that, but we'll go for it. All right. Last but not least, the Gators defense has forced 14 turnovers through 9 games. That's actually been a pretty bright spot for us this year. We will beat our average, that being 1.55 per game on Saturday, and force Ole Miss to turn the ball over at least twice in Oxford. Keep it or pitch it.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb here as well. I'm going to keep this one because I like the active hands, trying to strip the ball out. Maybe we get a pick. Maybe Trinidad Chambliss gets a little lazy with a pass here or there because he has had, despite how explosive he's been. So I'm going to keep it, B.
All right, and I'm going to pitch that one. So we'll see what happens. But I think we'll get 1, but I don't think we get to 2. It's very hard to pick turnovers. We don't typically do it because there's a luck factor involved. There's actually analytics groups out there that now have a luck rating for teams. I don't even really understand that and how you can quantify that. I would love to actually see the analytics behind that number, like from a math standpoint. But yeah, there's a luck rating now. So again, very interesting. I'm sure there really is an explanation behind it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'd like to see how accurate that really is in terms of Like, how do you really quantify that? Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. So ultimately, there you go. So we're gonna have differing results again here. We got 2 different picks, so that'll be interesting to see how it comes out. All right, Sims notes. Just like everything else this week, these are weird. So it's got us winning 6 out of 10, which no, don't believe that at all. Do not go place your money. Again, we were 10-0 against Kentucky. Oh, quick sidebar on the Kentucky Sim results. I should say this real quick before we get into Ole Miss. I reran the Sims for Kentucky once we had the injury updates, and we actually changed our results to 7-3 from 10-0. Once we had the actual injury updates for like Trey being out and things of that nature. So it did change those results substantially. 10-0 to 7-3 is a big swing. Now, obviously, it still had us winning that game, and we came nowhere close to that. However, I do think it's important to note that it did get closer to the accuracy of not only that, but it also changed from the third down conversion piece being the key stat, though we did lose third down conversion, so our key stat was correct. However, it changed it really to being time of possession. We also lost time of possession, and that ended up being the key stat that it predicted. So key stat did remain true in that game, despite us losing. So just an interesting little caveat there to the Sims results from last week. So I did want to go back and kind of disclose that. This week, obviously, I took Trey out, him being out for the season. Very unfortunately, for those that don't know, yet another guy down for the year. It's just killer. But again, even despite that, 6-4. I can't explain that. I also can't explain the fact that the stats from this are kind of weird. Very balanced on both sides. We have slightly better production, slightly better scoring points, but the margins were similar. We won by an average of 7, lost by an average of 6.5. All I can say is the game values the talent on the teams, right? It evaluates talent at the different matchup points, and that's what the algorithm's going to look at. It doesn't understand if players are not as motivated to play. It doesn't understand if, a team lost its head coach and, is having a down year. It doesn't know anything about any of that, right? It's just going to look at, okay, this guy's talent rating is this guy's talent rating is this is how they match up, this is what the algorithm is going to calculate, right? That's all it's looking at. So it can't factor any of that stuff in, right? It can't factor in the playbook being bad, the coach being able to evaluate concepts and do things, accordingly. None of that's going to factor into this algorithm. It's just not. So I think that's an important point, and it's why, for the record, we don't look at the outcome of this. We try to find a key stat. Having said all of that, again, similar numbers here, similar totals, similar even in TOP. We had a slight advantage there, which we probably should, because actually Ole Miss does not possess the ball very long in games typically, because they get a lot of explosive plays. So they score a bunch of points, but they score them quick, so they don't possess the ball that much. So everything kind of lined up except for their third down percentage was really low, which does not fit what they've been doing. And then they're obviously not winning enough of the games, I don't think, for what I would say. But there was no key stat. Nothing was consistent across all the wins and losses, not even consistent like all but one. Sometimes there'll be an outlier game, but I can explain it away because of turnovers or because of something weird that happened with third down conversion or something. No, there wasn't even a stat that was true for like 7 out of the 10. So having said that, no metric was consistent across all these wins, like I already said. So ultimately, this game is as confused as I am, or we are, about this team's play. So there you go. We got nothing this week for a key stat. I can't give you anything to look at. I'm sorry. We really did try. Randy and I looked at it like 10 times, looked at all the results. I mean, I average everything out. I look at every single thing, the average running yards, the average passing yards, the average total yards, points scored, points against, margin of victory, everything. Third downs, as I mentioned, time of possession, the whole gamut. And factor in turnovers for that stuff. I mean, I do a lot of research to put this thing together. It takes me like over an hour every week to run these 10 games through and compile all the data and look at it. And so I really do try to give you guys something to kind of look at and try to make it something that we hope is accurate. And again, it's been accurate week after week here since the Miami game. And I I don't want to say I take pride in it, but like I try to make it something value added, right? That we do here. So I'm bummed that I can't give you one this week, but I just can't do it because the game's like, I don't know. So there you go.
Hey,
So
B,
again,
one
it's
last
much like
thing.
us.
Yeah, one last thing on that. Did you remember to change the effort meter on the game? Oh yeah, there is none. Sorry.
No, we don't have an effort meter. We don't have one of those. I wish we did. I wish we did. All right. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up here. Thanks for everybody. Apologies for the late record window tonight. So for those that are typically used to getting this the out a little earlier, had some travel delays this evening. Had a bunch of tomfoolery at the airports. So sorry for the late record tonight, but we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming moving forward next week. As always, if you've enjoyed the content, please hit like on whatever you're listening on. Please subscribe if you'd like to hear more. And with that, I'll turn it over to you to sign us off, Randy.
Yeah, man. Thank you much for the therapy tonight. We appreciate it, Gator Nation. We hope you appreciated the therapy, the perspective, the insight, and let's see what we can do this coming Saturday in Oxford. Look forward to bringing you first bites after that game. But either way, whenever you are and whenever you may be listening, thank you for taking the time, and we will see you around, Gator Nation.